We are now on part 2 of woodworking versus building construction. We looked at, on the last video, dimensional lumber, what it was, how the numbers 2 by 4 mean 1.5 by 3.5. We also looked at cutting down of trees, how exactly that works, and then finally the lumber yard process. For the rest of this video, we're going to be looking at how the wood that is used then turns into our buildings themselves, a rough construction, as well as our decks with treated lumber, and then finally some sheet goods, which is also a very critical part of building construction. And then I will go over what's going to be on the quiz, the first quiz. So softwood lumber, as you can see here, this is what your 2x4s and so on tend to look like from the yard. They have stamps on them. That's because all lumber is graded. Just as our hardwoods were graded, so are our softwoods. There's stud grades, select grades, and so on. Here's a basic chart. We're not going to go into it too much, but that chart is, there we go. That chart just shows you just basically what these things are used for: structural framing, light framing. Studs are what we are calling the 2x4 that are used as the vertical sections of our walls, not the horizontal sections. Structural joists, which we'll learn, are the things that end up making our flooring and some of our ceilings. And then appearance framing, that means stuff that you're going to actually see what that exactly looks like, and so on. So there's a little bit of the grading scales for lumber. Now, as many of you know and have probably worked on with other people, decks and fences and so on, some softwoods are treated lumber. Treated lumber is lumber that has been given most of the time a chemical bath, soaked in chemicals in order for it to withstand exterior applications. So able to hang out on a deck and not rot away, able to be part of a fence and not very quickly just become crumbling and so on. Treated lumber is what would have been used for this deck. I made my deck out of treated lumber as well. It's pretty cheap compared to some of the other possibilities and alternatives, such as teak especially, or something like cedar treatments. And then you can do some staining work on top of treated lumber as well. When you're making things with treated lumber, which is, again, dimensional lumber just given a chemical bath, you have to realize that though your protection from the elements is good for the wood, you have to use fasteners that are appropriate as well. If you don't use ones that are galvanized, etc., they will rot quickly as well, and then you're having a deck with all the fasteners rotted. It will shrink over time, so that you'll have bigger seams and gaps in your deck boards. And the final thing that's very important always to remember is this stuff, again, is given a chemical bath. Don't take an old deck of treated lumber and go and have a nice bonfire with friends and breathe that stuff in. That would be very bad for your lungs. So there's regular dimensional lumber and there's treated dimensional lumber. Whenever you're buying something for an indoor application, you use regular dimensional lumber, unless it's going to be getting wet, unless it's possible that the elements will take a toll in it, or that you'll have an application inside of like a bathroom. Oftentimes bathrooms have a bottom plate that has treated lumber, especially when you're framing out stuff for things like bathtubs and showers. So you will have some stuff that is green treated. Even in those cases, oftentimes you have green treated sheetrock as well. So that is one other type of wood you can purchase from the lumberyard. And then finally, the other main thing I was going to talk about in this tutorial is sheet goods. Panel stock is made out of, most of the time, leftovers from your lumberyard. So all the saw, the little ends of the saw that you can't use for regular lumber, that you can't sell as dimensional, you grind it up and use various components of that with glue and put it together to make sheet goods. Now, panel stock and sheet goods are excellent for construction because they don't have some of the difficulties of regular lumber. Regular lumber always has, along with it, the fact that it is a natural material. It's got grain to it, it's got cracking, drying problems to it too. This takes a lot of that away, and it doesn't warp and crook and so on. So panel stock is a wonderful development of our construction businesses, and these are the various kinds that we use. I've gone over these again in Woodworking 1, but we're going to focus on the other ones now more so than the last course. Up in the top left corner here, we've got plywood. Plywood is oftentimes a general term for sheet goods, but it does not actually refer to all of them. Plywood has a lot of plies glued together to form a certain thickness, and you can buy it sometimes with a veneer on the top, for example this one right here. But plywood is something that has a lot of layers to it, and then it adds a lot of strength. Very hard to break through plywood, which is typically also why they use plywood for things like disasters and hurricanes and so on, along with chipboard and some of the other ones, because it's so hard to penetrate this easily with flying debris and so on. So there's some plywood that comes in various thicknesses, oftentimes used for flooring. That we'll see in a little bit. Over here on the upper right hand corner, this is particle board. Particle board is not going to be used in the construction industry much because it is not good with water whatsoever. This is usually used inside of furniture, especially kind of cheaply made furniture. Again, very straight, very heavy stuff. Over here we have hardboard. This particular hardboard right here is used for the tops of things like workbenches. Very, very good for workbenches. It takes a beating, and it's very, very dense stuff. A little bit less dense, which is why we call it MDF, or medium density fiberboard, is in the middle right here. This stuff is very good. It's awesome for painting, for some cabinetry applications. But again, you can't get this wet. It's going to break up a lot. As is bottom left-hand corner here, the melamine. As you can see, this is the same thing with the particle board wrapped in some top vinyl, some sort of laminate on the top. That, again, great for things like on our table saw up in the wood shop. That's melamine, the extension on there. And wonderful for that, but again, for construction purposes, not used as much. Bottom right hand corner is the most important one. We will use that this semester. This stuff has a variety of different labels. Some people call it OSB, oriented strand board. Some people will call it wafer board. Some people will call it chipboard. But this is the stuff that wraps houses. Once you get the framing up, then you put OSB on that framing, and that creates the structure. That is a very critical part of the structural stability and integrity of the structure. This is used for, like I said, around here in the Midwest, it is used for most houses around the entire building, as well as the roof. You'll be using some level of OSB slash chipboard slash wafer board there. Like I said as well, upper left-hand corner, the plywood will also be used. There's one other term on the left-hand side there, molding. That's a narrow strip of wood shaped to a curved profile throughout its length. That curve, that profile, whatever it is, could be anything. There's a wide variety of different moldings you can use. This is used typically for trim work to make it look nice after you're done. That can be cove molding, that can be quarter round, that can be a very delicate egg shape, that can be something up in the corners. Anything that you can imagine, that is molding. That is also milled. That can be milled from either different kinds of materials or just straight pine and oak and so on. Coming up on the quiz, you will have to know some stuff about that panel stock that I just talked about. You will have to know things on dimensional lumber. Look at that chart once again on page 49 of Softwoods. You will also want to take a look at pages 56 and 57. That gives you some of that information as well on the plywood and sheet goods. So 56 and 57, page 49 for the sheet goods, sorry, for the softwoods. And then finally, take a look at pages 16 through 19. That gives you all the measuring and marking tools that we will cover in our next PowerPoint. I'm just giving you that a little bit early. Look at all of them. They include a small description, of, for example, the folding wooden rule on page 16 gives you a picture of what that looks like as well as a description there. No, all of those on pages 16 through 19 will have a small review that I will give you as well. But if there's any questions or anything, please send me an email, talk to me in class, and so on. Thus ends our PowerPoint, our second PowerPoint on woodworking building construction.